Right, so we have seen the golden rule and how to make sure the music is always synchronized. And just to show you how fabulous Cubase is in this respect, I'm going to delete all but one of these bits of music. And then I'm going to zoom out a little bit, maybe not that much, and extend it out. And look at that. Look at the whole piece of music. Marvellous. So there you go. You only need the tiniest little sliver of this piece of music, and you can extend it all out using Cubase. But anyway, what we're going to do now is we're going to produce the end of chapter bit of music, because that's the simplest edit to do. So I'm going to cut this down to roughly what I need, which will be a cut there and roughly a cut there, because as you've seen, I can always extend this out if I need to. So just to show you what I mean, I can extend that out there or whatever. So now what I'm going to do is listen to the text, the voice here. So I'm going to mute the music, because I want to listen to what I call the beginning of the end, and that's where it sounds as though I'm coming to the end of the chapter from what I'm saying. So let's have a listen. Let's close in a little bit. Okay, now you won't have, let me stop that a second, you won't have heard that because it's so faint, so let me just try to make it a little easier. So let's go back to here and I'll see if I can get it audible for you.
That investigates such tales, and the FOAF Tale News, the newsletter of the International Society for Contemporary Legend Research. NB. Urban legends is the correct nomenclature for these stories. Urban myths is a misnomer. Myths deal with the activities of mythical beings such as gods, goddesses, and the like.
How absolutely thrilling. Now what we've learnt is that I reckon here, where I say NB, I reckon that's the beginning of the end. That's the beginning of the end of this chapter. So let's listen to it again.
NB. Urban legends is the correct...
So that's where I want the music to be noticeable. So what I mean by that is I want the music at this level, beneath here, to have reached the lower of the two volume levels. Now if you remember, we wrote down two volume levels earlier on. The high one was -7.78 and the low one was -21.07. So by the time you hear this point, by the time the cursor gets to here, I want the music to be at -21.07. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lower this to -21.07. 14, 19, 20, oh, there you go. So that's now at the lower volume. And then over here, before that, I want the music to come in, but I want the music to come in under a peak of sound. This is a peak. And that's another peak. It's not such a good one. That's a good peak. But I reckon I'll bring the music in under here. And the reason why I do that is because if it comes in at a drum beat, then it's quite jarring to suddenly hear a drum beat. But if I've got a peak of music, a peak of my speaking here, you can't hear that drum beat because it's so faint. So I'm going to, as good habit, I'm going to just extend to that. So that is now, because I put the cursor on the peak here, let's just move the cursor out of the way, that's the peak, I put the cursor on it, and I've lined this music up with it here. Okay, and now I know that that is the point by which I want this volume level, which we've currently got, which is -21.07, to be happening. But at the moment it just slams in. There isn't a smooth run in. However, this clever little blue triangle here is a fade in. Now I'm clicking and dragging, as you can see there's a grey line forming a diagonal line. So I'm going to take it to about there. And that's your fade in, which is awfully clever. That's all that blue thing does. It's very good. So let's have a listen to that. Unmute this and see if you can hear it.
FOAF Tale News, the newsletter of the International Society for Contemporary Legend Research. NB. Urban legends is the correct...
So I'm hoping you could hear that, but that was the correct way for it to come in. You can't hear the music coming in, it just sort of creeps up on you and then it's suddenly there. So at this point here, the music is at the lower volume. So that's great.